All right, welcome to Tuesday, February 15th. Good to see you. Today's reading is the last two chapters of Leviticus, chapters 26 and 27, and then we'll do the intro for Numbers. So this video might take a couple extra minutes, but hey, you only have to read two chapters today. Now, when we get there, I make fun of a couple chapters of Numbers because they are difficult to read. Numbers is a frustrating book as far as the stories that are being told, but it's nothing like Leviticus. We're going to start talking about moving forward, and it'll be a great thing. But let's cover the last two chapters of Leviticus real quick. Here in chapter 26, you see the blessings and the cursings that the Lord promised for Israel. And now remember, Israel agreed to this, and look at the blessings they could have had if they just would have listened. God gets a little impatient with them, and that's what the next chapter is. And by the way, one of the reasons that these two chapters I think are here, there's some that'll try to tell you that chapter 27 is parenthetical because it just doesn't seem to fit. Its placement's odd. Don't listen to that stuff. It's there for a reason. But again, chapter 26, they both agreed to this. Chapter 27, I'll admit that most of the times when I read through here, I take chapter 27 just to be referring to buying and selling people. But that's not what chapter 27 is about at all. These vows are about tabernacle business. Sometimes we forget that there's policy and procedures, with the church, but there's policy and procedures for the tabernacle as well. And so it's made clearest in the verses about the houses and the land. If you dedicated something to the Lord and then for some reason wanted it back and it was still available, this gives you the price in order to do that. Now, these are dedications. Notice there in verse 1 and 2, and it says singular vow. That's what it's talking about. Singular vow is talking about when we vowed something to God. And so when we've made that vow, God gives them a way out, but then says, okay, here's how you do it. And so the tabernacle could be deeded a house, but then, for business or for whatever, somebody catching up. I don't know why. But so here, this is in your books. Now what? And so that's the purpose of this chapter. Didn't really study that until this time around. Try to figure out. So I give you something on this chapter. All right, we're not going to read any of it today, but let's go ahead and talk about the book of Numbers. All right, so the book of Numbers is named for the surveys found first in this chapter, and then in the 26th chapter on the plains of Moab. And this book covers a lot of time. The first census, the first count, will be the people of the Exodus. The second one at the end of the book will be the people of the conquering of Canaan. It has been said Genesis shows us the way down, Exodus shows us the way up, Leviticus shows us the way out, and Numbers shows us the way on. It's been called the book of journeyings, the book of Moses, the book of wandering, and basically an 11-day journey becomes a 40-year agony. And I believe when Hebrews is referring to this, I believe that Hebrews is trying to encourage the nation of Israel to follow Plan A. And if you don't know what that is, we're going to get to that. It's going to take a while. But Plan A versus Plan B, Hebrews, I think there's an encouragement there. But there's also Plan A, Plan B here at Kadesh Barnea. Plan A was an 11-day journey, and then, hey, go in, conquer the Promised Land. However, the spies came back with an evil report, so therefore you're going to wonder for 40 years, and that entire generation is going to die off. Plan B. The writer of Numbers is again Moses. John chapter 3, verse 14, Jesus said, "And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up." That's summed up in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, and that, of course, happened in this book. And so, again, I'm going to use this phrase often, Jesus is under the impression that Moses wrote the book of Numbers, so that's sufficient for me. Key word in this book would be wanderings, and then the key chapter would be chapter 14, where God's plan is ultimately rejected. And of course, what we're going to learn early on here is that optimism pays off. Joshua and Caleb came back with a good report, realized the only reason the spies were sent out is for how we're going to do it, not if we should do it. They're the only two that got to survive the wilderness wanderings of those that were of a certain age, and came back and given certain possessions. And so Numbers is going to talk about a 40-year journey. They're going to leave, and they're going to come back to the exact same spot. So a theme could be pass the test now, or you're going to have to pass it later. That's why you hear of pastors having problems or people having problems leave, you're going to run into the same problem somewhere else. Better just learn our lesson, stick it out, stick our nose to the grindstone, and just keep doing what we're supposed to do. That's why reading your Bible every day is important, even when it's not fun. There's been about probably a 75% decrease from the beginning of Leviticus till the end of Leviticus of views on YouTube for these very things here. I appreciate those that have stuck around, but that's what happens. You read through Leviticus, you read. It's not fun, you fall out, but you just keep on going to the other side. And so in Numbers, Christ is portrayed as the brass serpent. It's written about 1450 BC. Leviticus covers about 1 month. Numbers covers 39 years. And the story I'm looking forward to most to tell you is Balaam's donkey in Numbers chapter 22. Going to be some good humor in that. And again, I did double check this. 36 chapters. Well, that's pretty easy to verify. 1,288 verses, 32,902 words. Again, I'm not going to count them. If you want to count them and let me know that was wrong, go ahead and do it. And hey, hope you have a great Tuesday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.